Have you ever wondered why money doesn't come with instructions like IKEA furniture? It's like being handed the most intricate shelving unit, but the manual is in an alien language. Imagine this. Bob, a guy with two left thumbs wrestling with a flat pack, convinced he's building the Eiffel Tower when it's just a bookshelf. That's how most of us feel about personal finance. Utterly bamboozled. Just like with IKEA furniture, it's all fun and games until you have extra pieces and no clue where they go. Let's not let that happen with our finances. Let's talk about Bob. Bob is a nice guy, but he's always broke. He's like a magician, except instead of pulling rabbits out of hats, he makes his paycheck disappear. You see, Bob is a master of the art of spending. He's got a black belt in buying, a PhD in purchasing, and a diploma in dollars dropping. Bob can turn $100 into zero faster than you can say credit card debt. His wallet is like a leaky bucket, and his bank account is a ghost town, where the only tumbleweeds are his dwindling savings. Bob's first problem is that he treats every day like it's Black Friday. Discounts and sales are his kryptonite. He buys things he doesn't need, just because they're on sale. He's got a closet full of clothes with the tags still on and a garage full of gadgets gathering dust. He's a sucker for shiny things, and his credit card gets more exercise than he does. Bob's second issue is that he doesn't have a budget. He's like a sailor lost at sea without a map or compass. He has no idea where his money is going, he just knows it's gone. Bob is the king of impulse buys, and his financial planning is about as effective as using a sieve to carry water. Finally, Bob doesn't believe in saving. He thinks that's something only squirrels do. He lives for the moment, and his bank account suffers for it. His idea of a rainy day fund is whatever change he can scrounge up from his couch cushions. Bob's financial habits are a recipe for disaster. His money management strategy is like trying to run a marathon with one leg. It's not going to end well. Now, we don't want to be like Bob, do we? Don't worry, I've got some tips to help us avoid Bob's fate. Our first two tips are as inseparable as peanut butter and jelly: budgeting and saving. Now let's dive right in, shall we? Imagine this. Our dear friend Broke Bob decides to go on a diet. He's pumped, he's excited, he's ready to shed those pounds. But there's a catch, he doesn't have a meal plan. Bob just wings it, eating whatever he finds in his kitchen, hoping it's healthy. Well, we all know how that story ends. Bob may be full, but he's full of regret, not results. Budgeting is your financial meal plan. It's the roadmap that guides you to your financial goals. It tells you where your money should go so you don't end up like Bob, full of regret because you spent your paycheck on yet another pair of shoes you don't need. Creating a budget isn't rocket science. It's as simple as knowing what comes in, what goes out, and where it's going. Start with your income, then factor in your fixed expenses like rent, utilities, and that gym membership you swear you'll start using. What's left is your discretionary income. This is where the magic happens. This is where you decide how much goes into savings, how much goes into fun, and how much goes into those shoes. Which brings us to our second tip: saving. Saving is like always having an umbrella. You might not need it every day, but when it rains, you'll be glad you have it. It's the cushion that softens the blow of unexpected expenses, the safety net that catches you when life throws a curveball. So how do you start saving? It's simple. Pay yourself first. Before you pay your bills, before you buy groceries, before you do anything else, set aside a portion of your income for savings. It could be 5%, it could be 50%. The important thing is to start and to be consistent. Remember, a budget is like a diet for your money, and savings are your financial umbrella. Don't get caught in a money storm without one. Our next two tips are the financial equivalents of eating your vegetables and having a fire extinguisher: investing and an emergency fund. Let's start with the concept of investing. Now, imagine you have a magical seed that can grow into a money tree. You plant it, water it, and with time it sprouts and starts producing cash. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, that's essentially what investing is. You put your money into something, let's call it a financial seed, and over time, it grows and multiplies. It's not magic, it's simply the power of compound interest and time. But what if you're not a fan of gardening or magical money trees? Well, you could always bury your money in the backyard. But then, you'll miss out on the fruits of your labor. Plus, let's be real, who wants to be that guy digging up the backyard at midnight? Now, let's talk about the emergency fund. Remember our friend Bob from earlier? Well, Bob had a habit of running into unexpected expenses, like that time he discovered his love for alpaca farming and bought 3 alpacas on a whim. An emergency fund is your safety net for these alpaca moments. It's a stash of money set aside to cover any financial surprises life throws at you. Investing is like planting a money tree. It might take some time, but the rewards are worth it. And an emergency fund is like a financial fire extinguisher. You hope you never need it, but if you do, you'll be glad it's there. Our final tip is like doing your laundry. It's not fun, but it's necessary. Debt management. It's like that mountain of clothes in the corner of your room. You can pretend it's not there, but it's only going to get worse. And just like laundry, the longer you ignore your debt, the bigger it grows. You see, debt has a sneaky sidekick called interest. The longer you take to pay off your debt, the more you'll owe. It's like if your laundry pile started growing extra socks every day, you ignored it. Not a pretty picture, is it? Now, managing your debt doesn't mean you have to pay it all off at once. It's like sorting your laundry into manageable loads. Prioritize your debts and tackle them one at a time. You wouldn't try to wash all your clothes in one go, would you? Remember, debt is like dirty laundry. Ignoring it won't make it go away. It's better to deal with it head on. So, let's recap our journey, shall we? We laughed, we learned, and let's be honest, we're all glad we're not broke Bob. We discovered the magic of budgeting, the thrill of saving, the adventure of investing, the safety net of an emergency fund, and the relief that comes with managing debt. These are your 5 golden rules to financial freedom. Remember, personal finance doesn't have to be like assembling IKEA furniture without instructions. With these tips, you'll be a money management pro in no time. And always remember, don't be like Bob.